Today I'll be talking to you about anxiety, the most effective meditation for recovering from anxiety, and explaining how and why it will work for you. I'm going to explain the two basic reasons for anxiety and how to resolve each of these. I'm also going to explain the purpose of anxiety in our lives, the reason for it, and the purpose it serves us. If you've been unsuccessful resolving your anxiety, here is the solution which I am sure you would not have tried as yet. It is unlikely you have ever heard of doing this before or understood how to. If you had, you would have had success already. It is important to understand that your anxiety is actually a cry for help. Something inside of you needs attention. The attention it needs is simply to be felt. If you give your anxiety the attention it needs, anxiety itself will calm down. The more often you do this, the more often you will succeed, and so therefore the more your fear of anxiety will lessen and lessen. But it will help you to understand the following article so that you can do this for yourself. You can experiment with this alternative approach using the following tried and proven exercise for yourself. I'll take you through it. Whenever you feel anxious, do not try to stop, fix, or avoid your anxiety. Do not try to change it. Do not analyse or bother yourself by thinking about it. Feel the physical sensations of anxiety wherever and however they exist within your body. Ignore your thinking for now, because that doesn't actually matter. Thinking about it is only a shallow distraction from the feeling of anxiety deeper in your body, and you need to feel that to heal it. Only by feeling it, not thinking about it, will the anxiety dissipate and eventually end. So only give importance to the feeling of it in your body and not to the content of your thinking. Just keep coming back to the raw physical feeling of it. First, I'll give you a better understanding of a more common anxiety experienced by most of us. A common misconception is that anxiety is a psychological condition and therefore will be resolved on that level. However, there's a bit more to it than that. Approaching it on that level means you analyse or think about it, which doesn't actually help much. It's just too shallow an approach to get to the guts of it and resolve anxiety. With closer consideration, anyone who has suffered from anxiety will know it is very physical. Anxiety is what you feel somewhere in your body. Usually, it is felt right up through the central core of your torso and mostly centralised from your stomach up through your chest and into your throat. Then, as it intensifies, you feel it radiate from these areas out through your chest and arms, jaw and face, and then dissipate towards the outer edges of your body. And you can often feel it all through your nervous system. It can feel like just being on edge or fearful, or as though you're in some undefinable danger. And as it increases, it can feel a bit like an electrical scream within and throughout you. And this is very difficult to cope with until you know how. Clearly, and the point is, anxiety is primarily a physical disturbance and so can only be resolved on that same physical level. If you break your leg, for example, you must set the bone. You don't go to counselling and talk about it. So what is anxiety? As the distress of unresolved tensions accumulate over time, these tensions are held and felt in your body as a presence of underlying distress. Then, this distress and its disruption to the chemistry of your body also contributes to how it feels in there. These, disruptions to your chemistry and the tensions of distress, are the two basic combined forces making up your anxiety, and they keep one another going. Underlying distress is held and is felt to varying levels of intensity in your body, and this distress both stimulates and is part of the chemical responses that add to how you feel, and in turn your chemistry alerts you to this underlying distress. There you have anxiety. So why does anxiety become so physical? It's because we ignore it or deny it and basically pretend that something that does actually bother us doesn't, or that it's okay or didn't really happen. Often others, like the perpetrator of our distress, have encouraged this confusion in us for their own ends. And so we fool ourselves by mentally ignoring whatever has disturbed us, either internally, externally, or both. But the body isn't fooled and the body doesn't lie, and that's why, regardless of our denials, the body remains distressed. It doesn't agree with our thinking, it knows the truth and you feel it. And what you feel doesn't match up with the lies you tell yourself in order to cope, so this only adds to your underlying anxiety. So our felt distress or anxiety is simply a result of whatever we ignore or deny or tell ourselves to. Then that build-up of the feeling of anxiety in our bodies drives all of our thinking about it in our effort to try and resolve it. But any failure to resolve it adds to our distress, and from this we develop all sorts of anxious reactions. Then projections of our distress onto the world and to other people just increases, which again only adds to our anxiety. All this is the result of the wrong approach to anxiety, that of trying to fix it through thinking about it rather than just feeling it in our body and thereby enabling it to dissipate naturally. So why is our body making such a drama over these tensions or stresses we hold or suppress deeper within our bodies? It's because over time it's going to make us mentally and physically sick, and in its own way the body knows or senses this. We forget that the body we are is nature itself, and so is very intelligent. And as the body is nature, so we too are nature. And nature's primary drive is to survive. So the anxiety we feel in our bodies is a natural, intelligent alert to help us survive. It is not our enemy, but our protector. Our anxiety is an alert from within ourselves to prevent physical deterioration into disease and prolonged mental imbalances or illnesses. If we know how to listen to and respond to this, we will be more able to maintain optimal health and to recover from and evolve through life experiences and difficulties. There are also our deeper, more persistent anxieties which are there to alert us to past, unresolved harm that still exists as distress held within our bodies. And we are supposed to feel these sensations in order to heal these from our bodies and from our life, not react to these and fight these. The body itself has no natural resistance to the presence of these felt sensations of anxiety, because we are not supposed to resist them. Our ongoing felt sense of these in the body is the natural meditation our body does, and this is how we process the effects of life experiences and stay mentally and physically healthy and whole. Then there are our more immediate or spontaneous daily anxieties which alert us to what harm is currently happening, to when others are trying to influence or manipulate us, or are lying to us, or in any way are of some danger to our well-being. We are supposed to notice these feelings or sensations in our body, and then respond to these to avoid harm to us. Any animal knows this and also depends on this to survive. But we have learned to avoid and ignore our anxieties and to interpret these sensations as somehow wrong or bad or a sign of weakness when they are not. So they have become louder, more extreme and overwhelming for us to the point of causing madness or insanity unique to our species alone. We need to listen to ourselves and to our anxieties and respond to it, not try to be rid of it. Anxiety and all this complex transference of information is what is happening in our bodies all the time, and all this happens before our thinking even becomes involved. Once our thinking becomes involved, it is too often in the form of misguided reactions to something or someone outside of us, or else to a state felt inside of us. These mental or emotional reactions or analysis only exaggerate and prolong the anxiety, and you get stuck there. This is why most of you have been unsuccessful with resolving your anxiety. It is unlikely you have ever heard of doing this before, or known how to, or that it is truly safe to feel your anxiety, or that it is actually the correct thing to do. If you want to heal it, which you do, here again is the solution which most of you have yet to correctly try. Do not try to stop, fix, or avoid your anxiety. Do not try to change it. Do not analyse or bother yourself by thinking about it. Feel the physical sensations of anxiety wherever and however they exist within the body of you. And ignore the contents of your thinking for now, for that doesn't matter. Consider that as just noise. Thinking about it will only distract you from the feelings of anxiety, as these are in your body. And you need to feel that to heal it. Only by feeling it, not thinking about it, will the anxiety dissipate and eventually end. Your main mistake is you've been trying not to be anxious when the truth is you are, and you cannot be what you are not. So stop distressing yourself trying to be. That will only increase your anxiety. The solution or trick is to be exactly as you are. You need to give in to that and feel the way you already feel. Only then will you begin to process the anxiety and enable it to change. And in this way, it will change, but in its own way and in its own time. All you have to do is feel the sensations of it in your body, nothing more, and your body will do the rest. Continue to try this for yourself. Try it again and again, and also listen to or read this article again and again until you really start to get it. When you do get it, you will be amazed at how at ease you will become with anxiety, and you will come to understand it, listen to it, and be guided by the intelligence of it in your life. The more often you respond by feeling your anxiety rather than thinking about it, the more you will enable your body to absorb it, and the more easily you will find calm in your anxiety. Now, if you want to fully heal your anxiety and any deeper underlying reasons for it being there, I can only recommend a meditation that is not using techniques or any thinking process to meditate, because these techniques are also shallow distractions from what you need to be feeling, and they will only suppress or modify your anxiety or numb you to it for a while, which is the opposite of what you really need. Just as the numbing effects of drug therapy have been historically proven to postpone and so prolong the deeper healing process, techniques applied to meditate are also designed to change how you are or feel. So again, They are diversions from or suppression of the anxiety which you need to feel in order to heal or resolve it. And just like drug therapy, their use only puts off the inevitable and inhibits the deeper healing process. Eventually, we need to enable the body's natural healing process of any condition suffered to occur. And this natural process is accessed or triggered by you purely feeling however you feel within the body of you. Now, some of you will need to dig deeper into understanding trauma-based anxiety. So far, I've talked about the type of anxiety experienced by most people some of the time. But there is a more severe form of anxiety, and when you have it, you suffer it most of the time. It's always just there in the background, felt deep down inside of you. It regularly inflames into overwhelming levels of anxiety, like panic or paranoia, terror, and various other conditions such as allergies, phobias, or overthinking. This type of anxiety is the result of more deeply suppressed trauma held in the body, and this is often from childhood disassociations from abusive events. It is where, although you have no known reason for the level of distress experienced or the mental disorders suffered, there is, however, the deeper feelings remembered by the body, as though some horrific event must have occurred. Such underlying feelings suggest it has. You don't have the descriptive, memorized details, but you do have the felt memory in the way it has affected you and in the way it has left you traumatized, or in the way it has left you feeling a bit crazy at times, if not secretly crazy all the time. Fortunately, throughout the last 35 years of my work, I have discovered how you can heal from the more severe anxieties of trauma. And those clients and students of my approach who had suffered traumatic anxiety achieved unprecedented success in recovering from and healing the effects of their traumas and therefore from their anxiety. I have also discovered how the healing process is the same for common anxieties as it is for trauma-based anxieties. It still comes back to simply feeling the sensation of it wherever it is and however it is manifesting in your body. For trauma-based anxiety, it is certainly tougher going and takes more time and persistence and requires more support. There are more tendencies to block out, ignore, fear, and avoid the pain which you actually need to feel in order to heal. And the feelings that emerge during your healing of anxiety will be the last thing you want to feel. But learning how to feel these in your body will be what inevitably heals you. Therefore, even though these two levels of anxiety are very different in their intensities, it is more your deeper unknown reasons that cause you to resist certain feelings or sensations of distress, and that are making it harder for you to embrace the healing process and to persist with just feeling these underlying anxieties when they erupt or occur. These anxieties can seem irrational, though they are not. You just don't know their cause yet. The underlying presence of these make your thought reactions more complex and tricky, offering lots of reasons to stop, give up or avoid your distress or pain, and therefore cease further processing of the healing of these. If it is the deeper trauma you are healing, you can expect incomprehensible distress and confusion to arise during your life and during your healing. But eventually, with this approach, it will pass. Each time you truly feel it in your body, you decrease the amount of stress held in there. And each time, the energy of it will decrease until eventually it will end. Whenever anxiety arises, the sooner you settle into the deeper feelings of it in your body, the sooner you will ease your pain each and every time, and the more you will heal what is within you. No matter how hard it is to continue a healing process, it is feeling how it feels to be you, not thinking about it, that has been proven to work again and again, both with many thousands of clients attending my clinics and for others during more than 200 meditation retreats which I've run over the past 35 years. It's giving into and feeling the anxiety itself that has been proven again and again to enable the body's natural purge of the effects of trauma-based anxiety. By purely feeling any distress or pain that arises, this triggers the body's natural healing process. Your body, which is nature itself, has the only complete healing process there is operating within it. That's why it works. And as you are the body, as you are in fact nature, that is why it will work for you as well. The Undo app has been developed to educate and guide you in how to access or trigger this natural healing process. This is why I am recommending the uniquely physical meditation which the body does naturally, explained in the Undo app. There is also a specific exercise and real-to-life information under the title of The Significance of Illness in the app, and that will take you further into applying what you have begun to learn from this blog. So you can take this further for yourself now. Having carefully followed and learned from what the body does whenever it needs to recover has resulted in the Undo approach. This is why to meditate in this way is so effective with helping you to resolve anxiety. You will learn how and why you need to embrace and resolve anxiety as its source of origin in the body. The Undo approach explains and guides you through this healing process and actually triggers the body's natural way of resolving it, and so it works. It works by taking you deeper, beyond all techniques to change it, and beneath all thinking about your anxiety, into the underlying and quiet feeling of anxiety within your body, and this immediately reduces the distress associated with anxiety, which you tend to cause yourself by your thoughts about it and your efforts to change it. Feeling it in this way continues to disperse its intensity until eventually it dissolves completely. Why this approach and knowledge is so important is that it has been completely overlooked and therefore has been unavailable until now. And so you and so many others have continued to suffer unnecessarily. When the healing of anxiety, distress, or deeply penetrating trauma is required, all our applications of therapy are too shallow, relying too heavily on thinking and overrating its use and purpose as a problem solver or healer. They only touch on the surface of our pain and distress and are unable to achieve complete recovery. Traditionally, and due to overthinking, we have overlooked the natural healer we all are, within and for ourselves, and have not understood how this is triggered into action by the natural act of simply feeling the pain or anxiety within our bodies. By experimenting with this unique approach for yourself, you can now begin to access and trigger the healing force of nature within your own body. Your body is fully equipped for you to do this for yourself, and you can trust your own body. It never lies or misguides you. However it feels in there is how it should feel and be. The presence of anxiety also indicates your body is going through its own healing process, so stop fighting it and go along with it, and give it a chance to recover, and it will.